Hey guys, welcome back to this week's pool here on Comic Relief Cast. I'm your host Jake.
And I'm Josh.
And guys, before we get started, we want to say thank you so much for all the support we got from last week. Batman Damned went crazy. All the fans have gone crazy over it. Our video blew up. It was pretty cool, and we got a lot of new subscribers, a lot of views, and I foresee that this week our Marvel video is going to be a lot like the performance of last week's Marvel video because not a whole lot of hype behind what's going on with Marvel other than a couple issues. So, Josh is here with me as well.
Yeah, I am here, like I announced earlier.
Sorry.
Hey, Jake.
Yeah.
I just got a quick question. Well, not even a question. It's actually a statement.
What's that?
It's National Comic Book Day.
Awesome. What a perfect
So
day.
what are we reading?
On National Comic Book Day, perfect day to talk about comic books, we are going over Extermination number 3, Stranger Things number 1, The Sentry number 4, The Amazing Spider-Man number 6, Infinity Warp's Iron Hammer, Spidergeddon number 0, and The Punisher number 2. So, right off the bat, starting off with Extermination number 3, Josh, how'd you feel about it?
Well, it was an XMen book, and it felt like an XMen book. It seems like an X-Men book.
Smelled like an X-Men book?
It smelled like an X-Men book. Had a lot of X-Men characters. I'm pretty sure it's an X-Men book.
Yeah. I can't say there's a whole lot to write home about this book. Actually, the first 2 issues I thought were pretty cool. And then I feel like, we're getting into, I guess we should also say it's by Ed Brisson and Pepe Larraz. But
Nice little...
You like that?
I like that, yeah.
Roll the R. A lot of practice out in LA.
Right.
But yes, I don't know, man. This book, the first 2 had me intrigued, but the ending of issue 2 had me worried with, Ahab taking over Wolverine's mind. I'm like, come on, dude, this guy's mind has been fucked with so many times. Can't this guy catch a break? And then this book, it's just a lot of the same old shit. Everyone's getting their mind taken over. When you get into the mutants and you write yourself into a corner with the idea that there are mutants who are telepathic and telekinetic and it's like, oh, why don't they just mind control them? Well, this is what happens when you mind control everybody. It just becomes boring.
So what you're saying is it becomes like an X-Men book.
Comes like an X-Men book. It's your typical X-Men book. Nothing new happening in this book, unfortunately. I was very let down by this. I'm so tired of the mind control thing. It's like, oh, and the thing that they can do at the drop of a hat, they don't even have to be in the same vicinity as somebody to do it. And I will say they came out with 2 new characters whose powers are pretty neat. I liked that, but
yeah.
Other than that, this is the same old stuff. We got to get away from mind control, because it's such an easy cop-out.
Well, if it's not mind control, it's, time displacement or somebody traveling through time or something. Oh, that's in here too.
Yeah, no kidding.
Snap.
Yeah, and you just never see.
Dang.
It's just when you throw that into the conversation, anything is possible, and it's like, why don't the villains win all the time? So, with that, I will unveil this week's Marvel grading scale, and I'm giving this one 1.75 web bombs.
That's a little lower than what I mean, because even though I didn't really I can see that an X-Men fan is probably still going to like this. I'm giving it 2 web bombs.
All right, it's just so unoriginal.
It really is. I feel like when I was reading it, I just felt like it's not bad, but it wouldn't be bad. It would be a lot better if this wasn't the first time I read something similar to this.
Yeah, it's just white noise amongst most of the X-Men stuff. So, all right, moving on to Stranger Things, number 1 of 4 by Jody Houser and Stefano Martino. This book, it kind of takes place more from Will's perspective when he's in the Upside Down. It is jumping around a little bit.
From season 1.
Yeah, from season 1, yes.
Yeah.
With the Demogorgon.
Yes. Yeah.
So basically, it's kind of Will's perspective when he was in the Upside Down, and if you're a big fan of Stranger Things, this is something that probably would appeal to you a lot more than most other people. I myself am a fan of both seasons of Stranger Things. I absolutely adore that show. But the book kind of fails for me to capture the magic of the TV show. How'd you feel?
I liked it. I mean, I thought it was intriguing. I feel like it would be something that it will depend a lot on the second issue on how I feel, because this is kind of just like a little introduction, kind of briefing you through everything. They don't want to go through too much stuff. The artwork, Stefano Martino, man, it's weird.
It's hit and miss.
Yeah, exactly. It's hit and miss. There's moments where it's like really awesome looking and eerie, and then there's moments where like you just look at characters' faces and it just does not look good.
No, like the Demogorgon's drawn really well, but most of the kids are
in the background.
Not very well
the
drawn.
Background's drawn really well, but the kids are not. But as a Stranger Things fan, I enjoyed this book. It's not blowing my hair back, but it is still enjoyable.
Yeah, for me, it's it's one of 4 issues. If you're a Stranger Things fan, you're gonna go out, you're gonna get the 4 issues. Personally, I'm not picking this up. I don't like it enough to say this is something that I want to have in my collection. But I'm not gonna fault anybody who does. It is the first Stranger Things comic book, and 4 issues isn't a huge commitment, especially if you're kind of light on your weekly pull stuff. So. Other than that, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot added to it, but it seems like it's going to start fleshing out the Upside Down. But when you only have the space to do it in 4 issues and the first issue doesn't do a whole lot, it worries me for the next 3.
Yeah, I think that this is definitely going to ride a lot off of its fan base. I think a lot of people are going to be really intrigued by the book, like I am. And I know, like, my girlfriend, who's a big Stranger Things fan, she's going to be the same way. It's just intriguing, kind of knowing, because that's one thing in the first season that you don't know. You have no clue what Will's doing that whole time.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be kind of intriguing. Out. Yeah, and then it's kind of fun when you see, like, because in this book, you kind of see, like, when, if you, like, was watching the movie, like, watching the show, there'd be these little moments where somebody interacts with Will in some way.
Right.
And this will kind of show you how they interacted or how it was for Will and his perspective.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be intriguing because the Upside Down is in that first season,
it's very vague.
It's very vague.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it's just it doesn't hold the same aesthetic, it doesn't hold the same charm, and it's not focused as a character piece. So it doesn't have a whole lot to grab onto for me. And it's a pretty quick read. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and just give it 2 web bombs.
I'm at 2.75 web bombs.
Okay, fair enough. Moving on to The Sentry, number 4 by Jeff Lemire and Kim Jacinto. Jacinto seems to be killing it, man. Like, this pairing between Jeff Lemire and Kim Jacinto, it's like a perfect pairing. I mean, the art complements Jeff Lemire's storytelling so well. But basically, in this book, what I'm loving about this is Sentry going like, have I been denying my full potential by trying to stave off the void from taking over? This constant struggle of me staving the void off has only allowed me to really be 50% of myself. But if I were to embrace the void and be 100% of myself, what happens then? That is slowly starting to be answered in this book, and I have it. I'm just very excited about it.
Let's throw it out there, you little Iron Man fanboy. Yeah, Iron Man noob. You like it because Iron Man's in it. You like it because Iron Man's in it.
I did dig the fact that Iron Man's in it.
Yeah, of course you did.
And I also dug that the Hulkbuster comes in. That's cool, but that wasn't my favorite part. It's the part where Bob Reynolds is kind of like...
I'm just messing with you.
I know, but it's like...
I know what it is.
Bob Reynolds, he's struggling with it. There's the Sentry world, and there's the real world. And we as the reader are kind of even... having a hard time defining, which is which.
Which I also feel like, in a way, if you used to break it, Lemire is so good on writing about mental illness and stuff like that. And he does this, like, he writes with this, like, sense where you can almost make it relatable in some sense without making it seem like somebody's, like, really fucking crazy. Yeah. But, like, you can actually... kind of relate with this in some way, this feeling of splitting between, are you a father, are you, like your career, your profession, like splitting between the two.
Yeah.
Because he's not just dealing with these two different realms of, Bob and the Sentry and the Void, but it's like not just what he has to deal with his head, it's also affecting the people around him.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I like the character Billy too. Like I like his character. I don't agree with him. I think he's kind of a dick, but I think he is a good foil to Bob Reynolds' Sentry. And I think he's adding an extra layer to this because now it's not only Sentry versus Billy, but it's also Iron Man and Misty. Like all these other things are being thrown into it. So I'm really enjoying the Sentry series. I'm going to give this one 3.25 web bombs.
Giving it 3.5 web bombs.
Okay.
I'm not trying to one up you this time.
No,
I'm just honestly, like literally I really enjoyed
I don't know what it is. I really enjoyed the DC reads this week. Maybe I'm a little more down on Marvel because last week Marvel I think just knocked it out of the park. Guys, if you didn't check out last week's Marvel video, go ahead and check that out because Marvel killed it last week. This week,
you know what?
Not so much.
Check the video out, but also like I know that everybody was, busy
with Batman damned,
oogling at Batman's penis.
Yeah.
But like, if you take a minute, go back, read some of the books that came out from Marvel last week, and you'd be really surprised. A lot of them were really stellar
and
books.
A lot of them were much better than Batman Damned.
Okay.
All right, moving on to The Amazing Spider-Man #6 Date Night. This is the first issue of the new series that Ryan Ottley has not been on the art, and they've gone back to Ramos. And personally, for me, I kind of was hoping that the Ramos days were behind us, but about a couple months ago we saw that, he's going to be taking over for a little while, for 2 or 3 issues, I think. This issue, it's not like, Spencer's writing was clouded by Ryan Ottley's art, because I think Spencer's still writing a really solid story, but this is also a filler issue. The last issue left off with Kraven, like he's been leading up to this Kraven arc through all 5 issues, and then you're like, okay, that's what's going to start off issue 6, and this is the filler issue. And I don't understand why 6 issues into a series you are already putting out a filler issue.
Yeah, the thing is though, is it's not really so much of a filler issue. This is a story arc, that's going to be going on for, I think, for Ramos is a little bit. It's Ramos is like
3 issues?
Yeah, it's like 3 issues.
Yeah, I don't know why you're not
So it's
doing
not
that.
really so much as a filler issue as much as a smaller, minor arc compared to a big arc.
Right, but I'm like, you know what? Marvel's been allowing Jason Aaron to do long form storytelling with Thor.
Jason Aaron deserves it.
Since 2013, though, with the God of Thunder.
Yeah.
He's been writing the same story. He's been unraveling that same myth till now for the last 5 years. He hasn't had these filler issues like this very often. But now we're 6 issues into Spider-Man, and we're already going to get ourselves a little mini arc that kind of interrupts what we've been reading so far. And I don't understand the reason for it.
Yeah, but if you think about it, if you think about the Spider-Man book, the first few issues was, a little mini arc.
Yeah, but you've also been stringing along this idea that Kraven, at the beginning of every issue, there's this allusion to Kraven, and at the very end of issue 5, there's Kraven in full garb, and the last page, you're like, okay, cool. Next issue, this Kraven thing's coming to a head. You're going to put that off for 3 issues and then get back to it? I don't like that. But putting that aside, this issue was a fun little read.
It was a fun read, yes. I'm not too hated. I don't hate Ramos on it, but we have been
A little
spoiled with Ottley, and I really wish that I feel like Ottley was one thing that really sold the book, and I thought Ottley and Spencer as a team was really knocking it out of the park. Spencer's writing is still really good for Spider-Man.
He's great with the humor, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I mean, there's like a little twist in here that I just absolutely I love it.
Yeah, I did not see that one coming at all.
But I mean, other than because I'm not gonna beat down on Ramos being on the art on this, because Ramos is good at Spider-Man. I'm okay with it, but I really just like that Ottley on Spider-Man.
Yeah, and then another artist actually takes over for a couple pages in this book. I can't really find out who
Ramos
it is right now.
Does that all the time.
But anyway, the other thing too, it's just a nitpick that I've noticed that Herman Schultz has been race swapped in the books. I think to be more along the lines of Spider-Man Homecoming, because the second Shocker in Spider-Man Homecoming was Herman Schultz, and he was portrayed, I can't remember who the guy was, it was a black guy. And it looks like now they're illustrating him that way too. I'm just like,
I don't know
okay.
if he. To
Herman
be honest,
Schultz used to be a white guy.
I don't know for a fact. I've never seen him.
Yeah, he was.
I've never seen him without a mask.
Well, I'm just saying he was. But again, just a small nitpick. I don't really care that much. I mean, Shocker's pretty minor, but he's always been one of my favorite kind of throwaway Spider-Man villains, along with like Rhino and Electro and stuff. But the book, it's got some good humor. It's still building on what Spider-Man's doing, his living situation, his relationship status, stuff like that. So it's not a throwaway issue by any means, but it does interrupt the pacing of what I expected to be the beginning of the new Kraven series.
Yeah, I think that I think that will come, but to be honest, I mean, the way that the little story arcs go, it's your typical Spider-Man.
Yeah, I know I sound like I was down on it, but with my grade, I'm actually going to give it 3.5 web bombs.
I'm right there with you on it. Yeah, it's still a good issue.
Yeah.
I think honestly we're just a little bummed because Ottley's not on it. I'm just gonna keep saying it. Maybe Ryan Ottley will come back and it'll be majestic like a.
Okay, moving on to Infinity Warp's Iron Hammer #1 by Al Ewing, artist Ramon Rosanas. And this is one I was very much looking forward to. After Soldier Supreme, I was like, holy shit, sign me up. I am all for these amalgam characters and stuff. And I thought the cover looked good, even though Ramos, I think, did the cover and the poster and stuff like that. And I am not too pleased to say I did not enjoy this one nearly as much as Soldier Supreme.
Yeah, I agree. I'm right there with you on that. I did not enjoy it near as much as Soldier Supreme. It's still not a bad read.
No, it's clever at times, but
but at the same time, I don't know. It just wasn't it wasn't as intriguing. It didn't feel as smart.
It wasn't as
Soldier
creative.
Supreme.
I mean, they still do the amalgams with some villains and side characters and stuff like that.
Yeah, but like they just like Eitri, they just like have Eitri.
Yeah.
He's not really matched up with anybody, and
yeah, but he takes the place of Johansson.
I mean, they just take these characters and they make them take places of other ones and stuff like that.
So it's basically a retelling of Iron Man's origin, getting locked into the cave and having to make a suit of armor, but he's also part Norse, and Eitri instead of Johansson is helping him build the armor and stuff like that, and he's not sure about where he comes from. All this, there's some interesting amalgams of characters and stuff like that, but it's told like the way Thor used to talk, kind of the old Shakespearean Norse language kind of thing.
So
obviously
Dallas
Shakespeare wasn't Norse,
hate
but
this.
Huh?
So Dallas would hate this.
Yeah, and anyone's been wondering where Dallas is. He got a job, so. Anyway, but yeah, it's not my favorite read. I was really hoping it could follow up Soldier Supreme really well, and who knows, issue 2 could be great, but this one, it didn't do it for me, and it's unfortunate because I love Thor and obviously I love Iron Man. I'm going to give this one 2.75 web bombs.
2.75. I'm actually going a little bit lower. I'm giving it 2.25.
Okay, so significantly lower.
All
All
right.
right.
Significantly.
I mean, it's a whole half a point, dude. And we're breaking down my quarters.
I'm just saying. I mean, I liked it. Just
all right. Anyways,
my hair back.
Moving on to Spidergeddon Zero, the Spider Event of 2018. I kind of think it's funny they have to say the Spider Event because there's always a Spider Event every year. There's always something going on. But this one, I loved it. I had so much fun reading this book.
You hear that? It's a Spidergeddon book that Jake isn't going to rip up.
Because it's not the edge of Spidergeddon, it's the actual Spidergeddon. It's by Christos Gage, and Clayton Crane does all the interior art, and I gotta say that's a huge plus for this book because anytime you put Clayton Crane on something like Spider-Man or Carnage, I mean, dude's gonna knock it out of the park. So this book, I think it's also gonna do really well because it actually is the universe that the video game takes place in, and you get Dr. Otto Octavius' superior Spider-Man coming into this universe like, hey, we need to team up. And the interactions between the two are really good. I was a little nervous at first with the way they were writing. I'm like, okay, this is all right. And then it really finds its footing. I'm like, this is just nailing Peter Parker and the way he speaks.
I really love the way that Christoph Gage writes for Christos.
It's not Christoph.
Christos. Okay, whatever. I really like how Gage writes for Superior Spider-Man. I mean, I always liked how he writes for Superior Spider-Man. It has that very intelligent way of speaking, which I do not have or possess.
Well, I think this was an intelligent move on Marvel's part because the Spider-Man video game was such a hit, and it's like they were able to see into the future and know that it was going to be a hit.
Yeah.
And even though it's only been out for 2, maybe 3 weeks, they're kind of hoping that most of the people who are the diehard fans will have already beat the game, and now they're going to want this book that somewhat ties into that game. I mean, there are definite strong hints towards the ending of the video game.
Yeah.
So I think that this book is going to do really well if they can find a way to market it as being a quasi tie-in to the video game or a quasi sequel maybe to the video game. This book's going to do really well, and judging on just this issue 0, I hope it does really well because I was thoroughly entertained by this book.
I hope so too. I can't remember who's going to be doing the rest of the Spider-Geddon books. I really wish it was this team, Clayton Crane and Gage, doing the rest of these books. I can't remember off the top of my head. If it is, if you know, go ahead and comment it down there, even though I'm going to look it up right after we get done recording. But yeah, I love this book. Everything about it, it's great. But also you put Superior Spider-Man or Superior Octopus in a book, I'm going to be sold on it anyways.
Yeah, I love the quips in here. I'm loving everything. I'm loving everything about this book. I'm loving the villain. I'm loving the idea of the alternate universe and like everything that's happened in the video game universe, everything that's happened in the 616 Marvel universe. Like they come together and there are definite hints at that. It's like the continuity isn't breaking for this event. Like it's still going on. It's all still baggage that's being carried into it. And with that, your guys' code phrase for the week is Sleepy Time Punch. Come on in here or message us on the shop. We'll put the Facebook link down below and you guys can get 20% off any issue that you want. But yeah, this book, awesome. I would definitely recommend it, and this is coming from somebody who ripped up the first issue of Edge of Spider-Geddon. So,
yeah. With all that being said, my rating on this book, I'm actually giving it 4 spider bombs.
Or
web bombs.
I was gonna say, I'm right there with you. 4.0 web bombs for Spidergeddon number 0. And the last issue I'm going to briefly touch on is the Punisher issue number 2 by Rosenberg, Matt Rosenberg, and the artist. I cannot say this guy's name. I'm not even going to try his first name. Kudransky is his last name. But this obviously is following up issue 1. Punisher is trying to take on the guys from Hydra, because obviously during the Secret Empire he teamed up with them. And in this one you get a lot of fun because Iron Fist and Luke Cage both come to try and take on Punisher and stop him, because this dude straight up murders a guy right in front of everybody. One dude films it on his iPhone. It's all over the news. Everyone's after Castle, and he's just trying to take out all the last vestiges of Hydra that are creeping around. In the very end of the book, Daredevil comes into play and it's like, Frank, everyone's after you, dude. What are you trying to do right now? Punisher's sitting there cracking jokes, cracking wise at Daredevil, and I'm loving it. But the very end of this book, the very last page, ruins it for me, because they bring in none other than the Hand. I'm so sick of the Hand. The faceless, nameless, all-black ninjas. It's like in XMen books when you bring in mind control. It's just, it kills it for me, dude.
Spoiler alert.
And, I mean, you're gonna read it. It's still a good read, but the thing is, it's just when you bring in the Hand, dude. That's when I check out. But other than that, man, Kudransky's his art looks great.
The covers are always beautiful.
Yeah, and it's very offbeat style. I mean, it's very painterly quality backgrounds with like really harsh, hard pencil lines and stuff in the foreground, so it really contrasts really well. But good book. It was a fun read. It shows why Punisher is not so easy to take down. Even though he's a guy with no superpowers, with just guns, the dude knows how to hold his own against guys like Luke Cage and Iron Fist. It's always fun to see him do that. So I'm going to give this one 2.75 web bombs. And with that, we are through with everything from Marvel that we're going to be covering this week. There's a few more issues I think we both still have to read, but we're not really going to cover it. But guys, we want to say thank you so much for all the support you've been giving us, all the new subscribers, all the views we've been getting. Thanks for the support. If you like this, definitely make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Share this with any friends of yours that read comic books if you kind of want to give it a third-party opinion. And of course, guys, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Help us grow a little bit. And if you haven't already checked out the DC video that's up on the channel now, go ahead and do that. If not, if you already have, we will see you next week with another review. Take care.